Oh, okay, it is working. Hey, y'all. Uh-oh, what happened? There we go. Ha 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 ha. Let me switch this so that I can get good light. Lighting is very, very important, right? When you're doing television, live streams, all that good stuff. So I want to check and make sure that Facebook is doing what it's supposed to be doing. All right, there we go. Yay, I'm there. Beautiful. Hey, guys. So glad that you could join me today. All right, so this is part two of my three-part series on mastering the media. This one is the fundamentals of media training and why it is essential for you if you are looking to be successful on television, podcasts, any type of media appearances. And this is part two of a three-part series. So yesterday was part one. Go back and watch it. Yesterday, it was so good, if I say so myself. Yesterday, we talked about the secrets of getting booked on TV and what producers really want. So, you know, I'm a producer, so I was spilling all the tea, dropping all the secrets. So, make sure that you go back and watch that one. So, for those of you who are new to me, I am Stacia Crawford. I'm a two-time Emmy Award winning producer and CEO of Stay Ready Media. So my company, Stay Ready Media, is a boutique PR firm that takes authors, entrepreneurs, and industry leaders from best kept secret to household name. We use television because that's my jam, right? That is what I know. I've been a producer for over 35 years, and I get people booked on TV, radio, featured in magazines. And as a PR and media strategist, I help people just blow up, right? You go from unknown to well known by working with me. 35 years. That's how long I've been in television. So I'm here, doing these live streams because I want you to be able to take advantage of opportunities that are out there, right? So when I say I'm a producer, what does that mean? Because sometimes, we work in an industry for so long, you think everybody just knows. Well, as the producer is the person who is responsible for every element of a newscast, right? So I was the one who was going through the pitches. I was the one that people were emailing and calling and writing saying, hey, I want to be on your show. I was a gatekeeper, a decision maker, the person who could say, yes, you could come on my show, or no, you could not. The buck stops here. And so I'm going to help you take advantage of those opportunities because other producers are looking for stories just like yours. You just don't know it. So we want to actually be able to relate to them, right? Give them what they want and then show up and crush it. When you get an opportunity for a media interview, this could be your one and only shot. So you really want to show up correct and deliver. Give them exactly what they want. So whether you are a small business owner, solopreneur, thought leader, expert, trying to get your message out to the world because you want to make a greater impact, then this live stream is for you. So make sure that you pay attention, take some notes. I'm all about the notes because realistically, everything that I teach you is not going to serve you unless you use it. So I want you to take notes and be able to implement. Actually go back and execute the things that I'm teaching you, okay? All right, so stick with me because I'm going to show you how to not only get through a media appearance, but how to actually crush it, right? How to, when you get those media appearances, how to crush it, how to show up, how to deliver, and then turn that media moment into money. Because that's what it's all about, right? Anybody can be on TV just for the sake of saying, hey, I was on TV. But what does that do for you? How does that actually help your business? That's what we're talking about today. So the first thing is, let's talk about media training, right? This is about the fundamentals of media training. And again, I'm using terms that sometimes I think people know. So what is media training? Media training is basically a process by which you prepare for your media interviews. So a lot of times people will think, oh, well, I'm an entrepreneur. This is my business. I'm an expert. I could talk about my business all day. I know my business inside out. You can ask me anything. And then when that opportunity shows up, they blow it because they don't know what to say, what not to say, how to say it. And this is key. This is key, right? So when you show up for that media appearance, you want to blow it out of the water so that you get invited back again, not only to that outlet, but other outlets as well. This is key because truth of the matter is, here's a secret. Almost anybody can show up on TV. Anybody can get booked one time. I mean, that's the truth, right? I mean, you can do it. But can you get asked back again? Can you show up consistently? Can you be asked to come on other platforms based on how you performed on that first one? So the first one is really that make it or break it for you. And if you are someone who has been on TV, I would like to ask you, how is that working for you? Is it working for you? So let's talk about that, okay? So the truth of the matter is, no matter how brilliant your message, no matter how brilliant you are, if you don't know how to communicate that message effectively, right? Then you're really going to be missing out. So sometimes people feel like, again, I know my business, I got this, and then they show up for a TV interview, and I can't tell you how many people have said that to me. They're like, oh my God, I just froze. Like my brain turned off when the camera turned on. I don't know what happened. This is why media training is essential. And it's all about the first impressions. With media, it's all about the first impression. So you need to get it right from the moment that camera turns on, the moment that microphone turns on. You got to be ready to deliver. And you have to do it effortlessly without even thinking about it, because you've only got a few minutes, right? And in a few minutes that you have to engage, you have to inform, you have to inspire that audience. And it's not only the viewers who are paying attention, or those radio listeners at home, but other producers, other reporters, other hosts. They're also watching to see if you're the real deal. So this is why media training is crucial. So what does it take to ace your media appearance? I really can break it down because, of course, this is a live stream, right? It's short. I don't have all day. I can't teach you everything that I know from my 30 years in television, but I can break it down to 3 key areas, right? And the first thing is appearance, your messaging, and then leveraging your exposure. So let's talk about the first one, your appearance. We all know that first impressions are important, right? People judge us by how we look, how we sound, how we dress. That first impression is everything. And when you are doing interviews, believe it or not, more than 75% of your communication is nonverbal. So before you even say one word, you're already talking. You're already saying a lot, right? So what are you saying? So while what you say is important, how you say it is just as important. How you carry yourself is just as important. So here's a couple of tips for you. This is where you can grab your notepad, take your notes. Okay? All right. So first thing is how you look. Let's talk about what you wear. It's important. But again, you want to remember this is television. So you don't have to, you want to wow them, but you don't want to wow them. You don't want people to be so enamored and impressed by how you look that they're not paying attention to what you are saying. So you do want to wear bright colors. I get a lot of people who say, well, the camera adds 10 pounds, so I want to wear black. And I will say, in most cases, absolutely not. You do not want to wear black. You do not want to wear white. And here's another color you want to take out of your wardrobe when you're going to TV is green. Do not wear white, black, or green. Black and white are basically going to wash you out, right? You're just going to fade in. Green, the reason you don't wear green is because you never know when you're going into a TV studio how the producer is showcasing that segment. And if they are using something called a chroma key, again, I can't go into all of that, but when you see the people doing the weather and they have fancy graphics and things like that, that's a chroma key. And that is activated by the color green. So anything green is going to disappear. And I literally had someone, not my clients, because my clients know better, but I had someone who had done television before, and she said no one told her that. And of course, she showed up to the studio wearing green. They went to go set up the shot, and they were like, oh my gosh, she disappeared, because that's what a chroma key does. So she ended up having to trade shirts with her manager who had come with her to the station. Thank goodness they had that. So she was able to wear his shirt on TV. Not her best look, but we had to get through it, so that's what she did. So no black, no white, no green. The other thing you want to stay away from are busy patterns. No little polka dots, no stripes, little flowers. Stay away from it. It just draws attention from your message. Stay away from bulky jewelry, especially big necklaces, because that's going to bang against the microphone. And nobody's gonna be able to hear what you're saying. So what's the point, right? So no bulky jewelry. And I'm not saying, if you're not a big earring person, you can't wear big earrings. That's fine. You just want to make sure that nothing that you wear is going to detract from the message that you are delivering. Okay? Ladies, I would also say wear two pieces if possible instead of a dress, because you got to think about that microphone. It's got to go somewhere. And it's typically going to have to go under your blouse, and that battery pack has got to sit someplace. So if you don't have a waistband, it's very awkward for you. It's awkward, there's no place to put it and all of this. So if you have a waistband, so if you wear a skirt or pants, that's going to be best. Because you don't want to be delivering a message and you got to worry about, am I going to drop this thing? Is it going to fall off? We don't want any of that, okay? You want to consider your body language and your posture. Always sit up. Stand up straight, but you still want to be relaxed, right? You don't want to be sitting there so tight, relax. Like one of my coaches says, relax your booty cheeks, right? So you want to come across as confident and approachable because, again, you're there to deliver a message and you want people to feel like, oh, this is someone that I could learn from. This is someone that I could work with. This is someone that I could buy from. So confident and approachable. Always make eye contact with the interviewer. When you're in a studio, there are cameras all around. There's lights everywhere. It's a lot going on. There are people walking, and there's a lot of stuff that could distract you. But you want to make sure you just position yourself like you're just having a natural conversation with the host. So always make eye contact and avoid the darting eyes. You don't want to be looking up, down, around, because that makes you look very nervous. And when you look nervous, you don't look like you know your stuff. And the whole purpose of our media is to showcase our expertise. So you don't want to be nervous and, unsure of yourself. The other thing that you want to keep in mind is gestures. Like I'm someone, as you notice, if you've been following me for a while, I talk with my hands. My hands are always moving. You feel free to make natural hand motions, but don't overdo it. Like some people want to emphasize points and they just go crazy with the gestures. You want to look engaging, but not fidgety. Again, this is going to show how confident you look. And you want to smile. Yes, even if you're talking about a serious topic. And that doesn't mean you go in, cheesing like, no. But you always want to, a warm smile really draws in the audience. There's a way that you can smile, but you also want to make sure that your expression matches with the tone of the conversation. Okay, so again, a small, gentle smile, and again, no rolling of the eyes, no nervous looks, because there's cameras everywhere and you never know which camera is on you. You also never know when your mic is hot. So, even if you feel like you want to mumble something under your breath or, I don't know why she did that. Don't do it. Assume your mic is always hot. I can't tell you how many instances that, how many times that has happened where someone thought that, forgot that their microphone was on and things have either gone on the air that shouldn't have, or, remember, there's a whole staff in the control room that's listening to what you're saying. And so you don't want any of those things to, to get out. Keep it in your head, not out your mouth. So let's get to the good stuff, your messaging, right? You want to stay focused and you want to stay on point. So that's really the heart of your appearance. That's why you're here. You're not here because you look good. You're here because you have a message to deliver. So before you step into an interview, you need to know exactly what your key points are. Do not wing it. Okay? I'm begging you, do not wing it. I see so many people who do this and then they walk away from the interview saying, oh, well, I didn't get to say blah, blah, blah. Or I thought they were going to ask me about this and they didn't, so I didn't get to do this. Oh, darn. You don't want that. So you have to prepare ahead of time. So you have to know your core message. You want to know it backwards, forwards, upside down. Know your message, okay? All right. And you want your audience to, you got to think about, what do you want your audience to remember? When you're doing an interview, it might be 6 or 7 minutes long. They're not going to remember everything, but the way you structure your message is going to make sure that they remember exactly what you want them to remember. So you want to stick to your theme. Don't go off on a tangent, okay? And you want to speak in sound bites. Again, this is another one of those TV words that we hear, right? What is a soundbite? For the most part, to break it down, a soundbite is basically a short, concise sentence where you can say what you need to say in about 15 to 20 seconds. You want to think in terms of things that are quotable, right? Because it helps those producers. First, it helps the audience to digest what you're saying. But it also helps the producers because when you keep your answers short and clear and concise and impactful, they can now repurpose that. So if you do a 6 or 7 minute interview, say for example, on a morning TV show, there's a good chance that if you've got some good sound bites in there, they can repurpose that for a later show. So now you're showing up on the noon show. Now you're showing up on the 4 o'clock news. Now you've got another sound bite for the 6 o'clock news. Now you're on the 10 o'clock news, right? One interview can be repurposed in so many ways. But the key is speaking in sound bites that they can actually use. And then finally, you always want to bridge back to your message because sometimes interviewers can veer you off track. They can get you off course, right? They ask one question, now we're all on another tangent and not on the subject that you came to talk about. And so what I do is I teach my clients techniques to help them redirect effortlessly. So you don't have to think, oh my gosh, now she's talking about that. That's not really what I want to focus on. I want to focus on this over here. We teach you strategies where you can actually pivot that conversation back to your key points because you have to be in control of that interview. People do media and they often think, oh, well, the host is the person that's in control. No, you are in control of that interview. And it's your responsibility to get that message across, regardless of what they ask you. Okay? All right. Now let's move to the next part. And I consider this the best part, using your media to grow your business. How do you turn your media exposure into money? That's what I call it, turning your media exposure into money. So first thing is you want to make sure, you want to start with the goal in mind when you are booking interviews, right? When you're doing media, what is the goal of your media? Again, anybody can be on TV just to say they were on TV, but then how do you actually make it work for you? So the first thing is you want to make sure that you have a call to action. You want to know from the beginning, what do you want that audience to do? What do you want them to think? How do you want them to feel? And what do you want them to do? Right? Do you want them to go to your website? Do you want them to download a video, sign up for a newsletter, right? Follow you on social media? You want to give them a clear path. A clear path. Don't get up there, oh, well, you can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter. I'm here and this is my LinkedIn and you can call me. No, just one call to action. So be very clear about that. Second thing that you want to do is you want to highlight your expertise, right? Your media appearance. This is your chance to position yourself as the expert in your industry. This is why they called you. They called you because you're the expert. The host is not the expert. They're calling you because they need you to give information to their audience that they would not have otherwise had. So when you are perceived as an expert, this is when those clients and those opportunities come knocking. People see you on TV, and if you appear to not know what you're talking about, they're not reaching out to you afterwards, right? So you have to make sure that throughout your messaging, you are highlighting why you are the expert, why you are the person that they need to listen to. Okay? All right. And then finally, you want to leverage your appearance. So often people think that once they do a media appearance, that's it. Well, I just did that. I did that interview. Whew, okay, now let's watch this money roll in. Let's watch these books fly off the shelf. People are going to beat down my door. No, they are not. So media is a credibility marker, right? You actually get that opportunity to highlight your expertise and it gives you credibility, but you have to use it. You have to use it. So you can expect the media to do the work if you want to, but the truth of the matter is you have to do the work. Media is a tool. You have to use it. So after that media, you want to make sure once that interview is over, you're promoting it, right? Share it on your social media. Let people know, hey, I just did this interview on, CBS. You want to post it on your website, include it in your newsletter, all those types of things, because the more visibility you have, the more credibility you have, right? And those stations, they want you to share it because as you share it to your audience, they hope that'll bring more people to their audience. They want to get more viewers. And when you can help them do that, guess what? They want to invite you back. So that's the key. You deliver an impactful interview, you bring more people to their site, to their station, more viewers for them, more money for them, and the way you leverage it, you get more money for you. So I hope that this gives you a better understanding of the fundamentals of media training. And and I know that media appearances can literally transform your business, but you have to know how to make the most of them. So this is why I do what I do, right? Even when I was working as a producer, I would spend hours media training people because as the producer, I want to make sure that they provide a good segment, that they provide value for my audience, right? You guys probably hear that jingling in the background. That's my dogs. They follow me everywhere I go. So, I want to make sure that the guests that I'm bringing onto my show provide value for my audience. And so, as a producer, I was spending, hours. And truth of the matter, that wasn't part of my job. That wasn't part of my job. But to ensure that I had quality segments, I would media train some of my guests beforehand. So now that's what I do as a PR and media strategist. So in addition to getting you booked, I want to make sure that you crush it. Inside of my program, Lights, Camera, Access, this is exactly what I help my clients do. So not only do you get access to me, right, this producer who knows exactly how to show up, what to pitch, but you also get access to me, like eyes on your pitch. You get someone who has read thousands of pitches and booked thousands of guests. In my 30 years in television, I've booked thousands, right? As a PR and media strategist, I can't even count how many times I've had to media train people before their interviews because you want them to show up. You want them to show up and crush it. So I know what producers are looking for because, again, I was the one who was booking those interviews. So when you're in a studio, you always want to know what to expect. You get direct access to me to make sure that you never go in and get blindsided. I'm like the producer in your back pocket. But here's the thing. You also get access to some of the best and brightest journalists across the country. I have a Rolodex full of people. I did say Rolodex. Okay, it is a Rolodex. Look, I'm dating myself. I know. I have, let's say, a contact list, right? My contacts. Rolodex. Y'all probably don't even, you young people don't even know what a Rolodex is. But I literally have the emails and phone numbers of hundreds of media professionals, journalists, producers, managing editors, all of these people. Many of them because I've worked with them for decades over the course of my 30 years in TV, but also because I've built relationships with them when I'm getting my clients booked on their platforms. So I'm offering that access to you when you join my programs. Now, one of the other features of this program that I'm so excited about is my Ask a Journalist panels. And I love it because I've seen so many people get access they never would have otherwise had. So these are intimate Zoom meetings where I invite producers, writers, reporters, right, and other decision makers from some of the top, most notable outlets in the country into the Zoom meeting. And you get to be there and you get to ask them what types of stories are they looking for? What projects are they working on? How do they like to be pitched? How do you make your pitch stand out in their inbox? All of this stuff. What gets them to open a pitch? What makes them delete a pitch? You get to know them by name. And more importantly, they get to know you. Right? That's it. That is the beginning of building a relationship. And PR is all about relationship. It is a relationship business. That's what it is. It is a relationship business. So that's the foundation of publicity and media, and you get to form that relationship inside this program. And in some cases, you even get to pitch right there in the Zoom room, and you can get chosen, actually booked on one of their platforms, like literally get booked on the spot, like, yeah, we want to have you on our show. That is the power of this program. So if you are serious, and I have to emphasize, if you're serious about taking your business to the next level, because let's face it, we're in we're coming up on the last quarter of the year, and we've all made some big goals, right? We've got some big, scary, hairy, audacious goals for the end of the year. And if you are close to it, or even if you are not, you want to crush it. And media appearances are a game changer. So you can still close out 2024 very strong and start 2025 very strong. Because look, if you think that, January 1st, somebody's going to flip a switch and now it's a new year, woo, we're doing gangbusters, that is not going to happen. You need that momentum in this last quarter to build you up so that you can succeed in 2025. I can't tell you how many people that I've had conversations with, and they're like, oh, well, media is not a priority for me. I'll do that later. And I circle back to them and they're like, oh, well, I had to go back and get a job, or, my business didn't quite make it because you didn't have enough eyes on your business. You weren't making enough money in your business, and you're letting those opportunities continue to bypass you. So I'm here to say, stop it. Okay? I'm here to help you get your stuff together so that when it is time for you to shine, you know exactly how to show up and make it count. So if you are ready to start turning your media exposure into business growth, comment below. I always go back and listen to the comments. If you're just joining, please make sure that you go back and watch this from the beginning. There's some golden nuggets in there, y'all. So comment media, and we can have a chat about Lights, Camera, Access. I will reach out to you about joining the program. I only have 9 spots. That's it. There's only 9 spots. So this is your chance to gain that visibility and credibility that you deserve. Let's make it happen, y'all. Stop sitting around waiting for some miracle. You got to get off your butt and grab these opportunities that are right in front of you. So comment media. I always go back afterwards. I'll be going through over the next couple of days. If you're interested in having a conversation about Lights, Camera, Access and how this can help you grow your business. All right. This is not about just, becoming famous, your 15 minutes of fame. We're talking about long-term visibility. So tomorrow, that is actually what we're going to go deeper in, right? Tomorrow, I'm going to be talking about how appearing on television is going to lead to long-term visibility, business growth, how you can get things from it, like corporate contracts and book deals and grants and so much stuff, right? Really using that money to grow your business, using your media to grow your business, okay? So don't forget to like and comment media if you're interested in program. If you have any questions about anything that I've said today, drop me a comment. I always go back and look at them. And if you know someone who could benefit from this, they have a business, they're growing, they just need more eyes on their business, and media is the channel that they want to use to get them there, share the video with them, okay? All right, so I'm going to see you guys tomorrow. And I just want to remind you, in the meantime, stay ready so you don't have to get ready when your big moment comes. Okay? All right. I will see y'all tomorrow. Have a fantastic banging day. Bye.